Welcome back to Telltale Books. I'm going to get back to my Brian Aldiss series this time and talk about his fourth published work in the order of publication that I'm aware of. A short story called Outside. Outside was originally published in New Worlds, issue number 31 in January 1955. And I actually have it in 3 different books. I have it in a collection from Atheneum that was published in September of 1989 called Man in His Time. It's a collection of all the short stories. I also have it in Who Can Replace a Man? I have a 1966 hardcover of that from Harcourt Brace in a World, but I've also seen that in paperback, used paperbacks. And the third one I have is where I actually read it. It's my wonderful complete short stories, the 1950s that I got, which all 3 of these books that I have are no longer in print. Sorry, but this is the newest of the collections. If you can find a good copy, it's going to set you back a little bit, but it's well worth it if you like Brian Aldiss. And of course, the January 1955 issue of New Worlds is available online. If you want to do some looking around, you'll find a free PDF. Free is always good, right? And you can certainly read the story in that issue of New Worlds. It is just a short story, and it's the typical 1950s short story with a twist ending. So I'm going to be careful not to spoil the ending. But you have an alien that is able to change his atomic structure at will and pose as human. The issue in the story is how do you find out and how do you identify the alien when the alien is identical at an atomic level to any other Earth person? I like how all this kind of takes you through steps where you gradually get a little bit more information until you finally reach the full reveal at the end. It's like you continually are discovering new things with each paragraph of the story. It's really well done that way. And it gives you just enough of the situation for one step forward towards the conclusion. So, not a top tale, mainly because of how incredibly short it is. I tend not to favor something that's really short as a top tale, unless it's got some kind of really historical significance or something else about it that really distinguishes it above and beyond any longer works. Otherwise, it's hard to write a really good short story and hard to make it impactful at the level that would get it listed as a top tale. But that's not to say that this story isn't really good. It's definitely recommended, and anybody that likes 1950s science fiction should check this out. It's kind of typical of what you would have found in Galaxy or the Magazine of Science Fiction. It's got that kind of Twilight Zone style to it. It's a really good example of 1950s short science fiction, and worth your time checking it out. At least finding the free PDF of the January 1955 New Worlds and checking it out there. So that is number 4 by Brian Aldiss. And number 5 is going to be a much better known story by Aldiss, one called Not for an Age. And that was published also in January of 1955. I'll be coming up on that the next time I revisit Aldiss. Until then, leave your comments about this video, about the story Outside, or about Brian Aldiss. like the video, subscribe to the video, or subscribe to our channel, I mean, and come on back for more content. We got lots of other authors from the 1950s that are writing similar stories to this. And eventually I'll get back to Brian Aldiss again. And I'll be here for all of them.